Hello, boys and girls. It's so nice to see you. Today, we are going to read Kippers Monster, written and illustrated by Mick Inkpen. Kipper is a very famous character, and I'm so glad we get to read his story in our collection. Are you ready to start? Okay. Tiger had a brand new flashlight. "It's the most powerful flashlight there is," he said to Kipper. He's shown it at Big Owl. He's shown it at Hippo. He's shown it in Kipper's face. "You should see it when it's dark," he said. "It's really good when it's dark." So there's the hippo, and there's Big Owl, and there's Tiger shining the flashlight in Kipper's face. That's not very nice. Tiger sat in Kipper's basket and pulled the blanket over his head. "Come on, we can make it dark under here," he said. Under the blanket was one of Kipper's storybooks. "That's another thing," said Tiger. "You can read under the covers with a flashlight like this." There's the covers, the blanket, and the book, and the basket. And there he goes with the flashlight. They got the basket and the flashlight and the book. Kipper began to read. Deep in the middle of the dark wood, there lived a horrible, horrendous, terrible, tremendous. "That's it!" shouted Tiger, jumping up. "We'll camp in the woods tonight. It'll be really, really dark in the woods." "Shall I bring my book?" said Kipper. "That Tiger sure is active, isn't he?" So they took the book and some cookies, and they put up their tent in the middle of the woods at the bottom of Big Hill. But as it got dark, Tiger began to think that perhaps this wasn't such a good idea after all. "I'm with you, Tiger." "Come inside and have a cookie," said Kipper. "Do you want Rabbit or Big Owl?" "Aw, Kipper's such a nice puppy. He's sharing his stuffed animals with Tiger. Big Owl or Rabbit?" But Tiger didn't reply. He was looking nervously out of the door. "Do you think there are any bears in these woods?" he whispered. He's looking nervous. "No, I don't think so," said Kipper. He began to read. Deep in the middle of the dark wood, there lived a horrible... But Tiger wasn't ready. He asked Kipper to sit next to the door instead of him. And when Kipper tried again to read, Tiger got up and zipped the door shut altogether. He was scared. He was going to shut that door, zip it closed. But the third time Kipper tried to read, from somewhere outside the tent, there came the most terrible, tremendous, horrible, horrendous screech! That's what that says. I think that would scare me. What about you? What was that? Said Kipper. Tiger said nothing. Let's go and look, whispered Kipper. So they crept out of the tent and into the woods, shining Tiger's flashlight ahead of them. I think it came from somewhere near here, said Kipper. The flashlight lit up the enormous gray trunk of an old tree. There, in the middle, was a dark, dark hole. So there's the big gray tree and the flashlight, and there's the big hole in the tree. What do you think is in there? I think you might be right. Suddenly, a huge pair of yellow eyes blinked open, and from the hole came the most terrible, do it with me now, ready? Screech! All right. They shrieked and ran, bumping into each other and sending the flashlight flying. They scrambled into the tent and lay there panting hard, listening. They made it back in. Okay. Now what? I think it was just an owl, whispered Kipper. Yes, it was just a silly old owl. But behind him, the shadow of something was growing on the wall of the tent. Something with horns. Look! Horns on something in the shadow on the wall of the tent. What could it be? It looks ugly, doesn't it? It's a horrible, horrendous monster! Squealed Tiger. The shape on the tent grew and grew till it was looming above them. Then it slowly changed into a shape that Kipper had seen before. Looks familiar to Kipper. Does it look familiar to you? Do you know what this is? Let's find out. Kipper crept back out of the tent and walked toward the flashlight. There, caught in the beam, was a little snail. Were you right? Did you guess snail? Kipper picked up the flashlight and let the snail crawl onto his paw. He looked at the snail closely. Its horns curled in and out as he touched them. There's the snail, and there's his horns. So when Kipper was touching him, the snail was moving him. I've found the horrible, horrendous monster. Look, Tiger. Tiger peeped out from underneath the blanket. He saw the snail. He saw its shadow. He felt silly. "Shall I read the story now?" said Kipper. Right? No need to worry about a monster in the story or the monster in the tent. But Kipper never did get to read his story because they went home to Tiger's house, where they put up the tent in Tiger's bedroom. And Tiger got to read it instead. You go, Tiger. Very good. Doesn't that look like fun to set up a tent in your bedroom? But it's fun to read books. That's my favorite part. What about you, boys and girls? I hope you enjoyed this story. See you next time. Bye-bye.